Welcome to Huddle for Success, real talk, real goals, and real results, where they help you make it happen in your life and business. Your hosts are Mark, Bruce, and Duane Gibbs, and they're here to help you level up your mindset, growth, and your success. Whether you're after personal growth or financial growth, they have you covered. Now let's huddle up.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Huddle for Success. I'm your co-host, Duane Gibbs, sitting alongside the Hall of Famer, my good friend and partner, Mark Bruce. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Joe Buck.
I just told you I get that from my very favorite sports
Commentator.
I couldn't think of the word. Thank you, Joe Buck. I love Joe. I love his voice. Love the interaction that he and Troy have, and it's. I just like using it. So I'm going to steal it from Joe, and you are the Hall of Famer.
Good deal. I appreciate that. I actually am in the Hall of Fame, but as a team member at the Matha. But I'm not in anyway. That's a story for another time.
Gotcha.
Wayne, good to be here this morning. This is going to be an exciting topic.
Yes, good day, good topic we're going to talk about. And I always like starting off talking about our mission. And our mission is helping people at a level to where they feel like they're stuck. And what we do is we help them get back into the game. And so every episode that we have and we talk about, it's just that. And today's topic is a good one. I made several notes, and I'd like to go through the ones we hit, and you and I'll just go back and forth, and we'll discuss them. And today's topic is going to be goal setting for transformation. And so what we're talking about there is not just ordinary goal setting. We're talking about something that ignites you and makes you excited. Bob Proctor talks about what really ignites you and gets you excited, not just goal setting of, hey, I want to set my alarm clock to get up at 7 o'clock and I'm going to jump in the shower. We're talking about real exciting goals that you're able to hit, strive, and meet every single day, and something that's going to ignite you. What's that look like? That's what we're going to unfold today. So with that being said, Mark, let's dive into the first chapter that I have here, and that's why must goal setting be so important, and how do people fail in setting these goals?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons people fail. I mean, you think about New Year's resolutions. That's what people think of a lot of times when you think of goal setting in your personal life. It's like I'm gonna set this resolution, and it's something that they want, but it's something that they usually think they can do, that they just kind of casually want. And what happens is time goes on, they hit a rough spot, things don't go as planned, life comes up, and they just it wasn't as an inspirational enough goal to get them to keep focused and working on it. Bob said that there are three types of goals. He called them A, B, and C. A was something you already knew how to do because you'd already done it once before. B's were ones that you believed you could do because they were, just a little bit better than what you were doing. And then the C type goal, that was what he said. They were the goals that you truly craved and that you really, really wanted because it just made you drive and think. So, the C-type goals, sometimes they scare you. Have you ever had a goal where, it's just like, man, I really want it, but it's scary? I know I have.
Yeah, no, I think that puts someone in their comfort zone. They're comfortable of the success that they had. They can visually see going to another level, but it scares them and it holds them back. And so they're very scared to jump into that C category.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I've set a couple goals, and there's a fine line between excitement, the feeling of excitement, and the feeling of fear. They both kind of get your stomach kind of going, and that's that you want that C type goal that gives you that excitement level. so that you can keep pushing through all the obstacles, because you will have obstacles. Every time you set a big goal, you don't know how you're going to get there, and you're going to hit a block, you're going to hit a stage where you just don't know what to do next. That's when I do that, I hit my mastermind. I give you a call, I give other mastermind partners a call, and we kind of work through the blockage. And that's what we hope to do here for you guys, for everybody that listens to Huddle for Success, is we want to help you with that.
Yeah, so we talk about why do so many people hit their goals and just not follow through with it. And let's look at New Year's resolution. Everybody has a New Year resolution of, hey, I'm going to go ahead and lose weight. I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to start eating right. And really, the national average is 18 days into it, people fall short of their goals. They don't even fall short, they just stop. They just stop. Come January 18th, that's typically the cutoff time where people just stop doing it. And why is that? And I think multiple reasons. One, lack of support. I think that they just they feel like they can do so much and then they just give up. And that's what we do here at Huddle for Success is we help you cross through those terror barriers and be able to hold your hand through collaboration and our one-on-one meetings that we have, and just help you succeed, overcoming the barriers, and then week after week, month after month, to where now visually you're hitting your goals.
Yep, it was funny because you talked about going to the gym and releasing some weight. I I achieved that goal when it finally hit in my head. It wasn't that I knew I should, because I always knew I should. I play in sports. You always know you need to be in shape, and you always need to do the right thing. But I saw a TV commercial, and I swear I don't even remember what it was for, but it came on and it said, if you could have any car that you wanted in the world. It could be a Lamborghini. You pick any car that you want, but it's going to be the last car you ever have. You'll never be able to have another one. How are you going to take care of it? Are you gonna change the oil, or are you gonna put the cheap oil or the good oil, the cheap gas or the good gas? And it's like, oh, I think I get the point. I've only got one car to carry me around this planet while I'm here, and that's my body. So I better take care of it. And that that was the inspiration that I needed to see to achieve that goal, because it wasn't just that I wanted to anymore. It was that there's a reason, and there's an important reason.
Yes, I know that a point in my life to where I was steadily making, at before I hit $100,000 a year, I was close 75, 80, 85, around there. And I'm like, why can't I hit this $100,000? And I had to do things differently. I looked at it and said, I need to spend more time at X. And that was, I had to get up earlier. I had to, be on the proper mindset earlier in the morning, and just had to eliminate some different things, and just the proper mindset, being able to spend more time at focusing on the job at hand, and then how can I spend more time at it. And it seemed like at the end of the day that it was hard, but I was, the following year, I way surpassed that 100,000 and was at 180,000. So I was like, man, this is the slight adjustments that I was doing really took me over the limit.
Yeah, and mindset just is so key in that, like you said. And you've been in sales most all of your career. I've had sales positions, and I will tell you that I'm sure you've experienced it, where you get in a mindset and you think, man, I can't find any business, and then and it's hard to find business, and nobody's buying, and the economy's
Right.
bad, and you start getting that thought process, and then it's hard to sell. But then if you can also be in the mindset where, man, everybody's buying, everybody wants my product, everybody wants my service, and that's, you get that mindset going, and that's when you can really make some huge leaps.
Eh,
And getting into that mindset has you thinking, I can I can hit that level. And as soon as you know in your mind that you can hit that level, it's a that's when you hit the level.
Yeah. And, we talked about on another episode of willing to change. You could always blame the market condition, or you can always blame a product, or you can always blame somebody or something else. But at the end of the day, you're the one essentially that has to change what you're doing to change the outcome. And if you're not willing to change, or you're not looking, a lot of people can't accept change. And if you can't accept change, you're not going to hit your goals, because that's what it boils down to is, achievable goals, um, something of great value of a goal. So you have to do it.
Yep. Yeah. You
Um,
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. No,
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 go
no.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead.
So upgrading into SMART goals. Let's talk about that. Upgrading into SMART goals. What's that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people have probably heard that you want your goal to be a SMART goal. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. You've got a timetable for it. And that's a great way to think of a goal. In our book, though, I talked a bit about maybe changing achievable to the word ambitious, because you really want an ambitious goal. If it's an achievable goal, it's almost more like a task. It's a task that you want to achieve as opposed to a goal. A goal is that it's that dream, it's that thing that you really want to reach for. If it's achievable, it's something that needs to be done, but and along the way to achieving your ambitious goal, you have to have achievable goals and tasks that you do along the way. So we don't want to replace that, but we do want you to think about maybe setting ambitious goals, audacious goals. A guy that I used to follow, oh man, what was it? He wrote the book, The Rockefeller Habits, Vern Harnish. He called his ambitious goals BHAGs, bold, big, hairy, audacious goals. Called him a
Wow.
called him a BHAG. Everybody should have a BHAG. Anyway,
I would say this. Do you feel stretched with your goals? Do you feel at the end of the day, hey, I'm stretching myself? Um, and what's that look like to you? I mean, have you ever sat down? I ask you, the audience, I mean, have you ever felt like I really am stretching my goals, and I can feel it at the end of the period that I've set my goals? So what's that look like? Are you writing everything out? I talk, about journaling. I never did that before, and that has changed a lot with my thought process, my daily routine. It's changed. I can see, even though it's a journal, I also do goal setting. I don't always hit my goals, but daggone, since I write them down, I can tell you that I'm a lot closer of getting them. And it makes a huge difference of being able to write those down and looking back and reflecting on them and saying, you know what, man, I was really close to hitting this, but this one right here that was a little bit more important, I did hit it.
yeah, I'm gonna paraphrase here. Bob had he had all these poems and sayings in his mind, but I'll paraphrase what I heard him say many, many times. I bargained with life for a penny, and life gave me no more. And what that means to me is if you only ask for a small little penny, you're only going to get a small little penny. And that's the reason that, we want to challenge everybody here to, set a goal that makes you stretch. It's
Mm,
really important.
yeah.
So,
The next note I have written down is from vision to execution.
yeah, you've got to your dream has to be something visual. Vision boards work really well. You can go into free apps like Canva and create a vision board. They even have a template for you.
Yes.
Um, and that's really important. You've got to see it, but it kind of goes back to, I think we talked to it in the past. If you don't have action, and you don't do something to work towards that vision, nothing happens. That's a word Bob called praxis. The definition of praxis is putting belief and behavior together to where you're doing what you believe you can do, and you believe you can achieve your goal, even though it's a big one. There's a couple steps to doing that. The first one is to clarify why you want to do it. Does it really mesh with your personal goal? And then you want to break it down into the steps that you need to start with, and you can come up with bigger sections. You may not know how to do each section. I mean, Duane, how many times have you and I, when we've started Huddle for Success, we know we need this. Oh, who are we going to find that can do that for us? Because neither
Right.
of us knew
Oh,
how to
for
do it.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you want to identify roadblocks, but you don't want to concentrate on the roadblocks. You want to concentrate on knowing that you can do it and looking for a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when one of my early jobs out of college was with Motorola selling two-way radios and walkie-talkies that transmitted over towers. And when I started, the guy training me said, "You're going to be surprised. You're going to start seeing just about every car has an antenna on it, and you're going to notice all these radio towers that stand thousands of feet tall, and you're going to notice them everywhere. And you never saw them before." And it is so true that, when whatever you focus on, that's what you start seeing. So you need to focus on your goals so that you can start seeing that be achievable.
It's kind of like buying a new vehicle. Man, this is a cool color. This is a great car. It's four door. The interior is awesome. You come to a traffic light in the middle of a big intersection. All of a sudden, there's four other cars just like yours around. It's like, where did these cars come from?
You thought sure it was unique.
You
Just
thought it was,
nobody was
yeah.
going to have it.
Plus, the salesman told you, hey, listen, this is the first one off the lot.
Oh yeah, he might have done that.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Let's talk about strong why. Why does your why matter? Why does it matter so much?
well, that's the only thing that matters really, is if you don't have a strong reason why you want to achieve your goal, it
Mhm.
just becomes a New Year's resolution, like we talked about before. Um, it's got to be something that you truly want in your heart, that aligns with your personal your personal desires, what you want to do with your life. A lot of people, I mean, when I was younger, I really didn't think a lot about what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to have a good paying job. I wanted to have, success. Then I got introduced into business mindset, and that's what I wanted. The first time somebody asked me why, that was a hard question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. Um, there's a there's a there's a I heard Dean Grazioso do something with somebody once, where to find out what your real why is, ask yourself why you do it, and you'll come up with a with one level of an answer. And he said, and then ask yourself why you want that. And
Mm-hmm.
by the time you get to the seventh time you've asked yourself why as a follow-up question to what you said you wanted, then you'll know your real reason. I challenge everybody to try that one. That one will make you think.
Yeah, I could tell you, yeah, it's funny because Diana and I were talking about this the other day on our road trip from North Carolina up to Maryland. She said, "What did you always want to be as a little boy? What was your why?" And it's funny she said that. What was your why? And I said, "Well, I always wanted to be ride on the back of a trash truck. I thought that was fun. These guys are riding on the back of the trash truck and uh, throwing cans around. And as a little boy, I thought that was fun." Until one day, on a hot, hot, hot day in August, my dad decided to take me to the dump, and we were cleaning out our basement in the yard, and had to take it to the dump.
And
And so,
you had a whole
oh
big
man,
pickup
I
truck
was
full.
so, yes, I was so excited about going. I was up early in the morning. We were leaving out, and needless to say, we didn't leave out until 1, 2 o'clock, I think it was. Later on in the afternoon. Not really sure of the time. And I got out and I jumped back in the car because it stunk so bad. And he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, that stinks so bad." And he said, How's that being a trashman now? Is that something you want to do?" And I remember as a little boy, heck, I couldn't have been 8 or 9 years old. Just no, I don't want to do that anymore. And so
Funny.
it's funny how what we think is important, it until you really think about it, it's really not that important. And then the older we get, our why becomes more significant.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know I tell the story about my dad. He was an accountant for Coca-Cola Company, and when they let him go after so many years, so they didn't have to pay out a high salary. And it was not just him; it was others. Um, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that I didn't want to have somebody dictate what I was worth, and I didn't want to have to worry about losing my job. And I was 16 years old, 17 years old, and knowing now, heck, you wouldn't lose your job, but that was the mentality that I had at that age because I looked up to my dad. And well, if it happened to him, surely it's going to happen to me.
Right.
And that's why I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. This is what I want to do. And when I graduated high school and then moved to Florida, it was, you know, buying properties and fixing and flipping. And I had a partner and he had property management, and then got into the training space on real estate, and just been able to, fortunate enough to say I never had to punch a clock. Um, that was that was my why. I wanted to have a choice, and I wanted to be able to work for somebody on my terms, and find something that I love and create, wealth for myself and for my family. And so that was my why. Big transformation from wanting to be a trash, driving around on a trash truck versus not having to punch a clock and freedom. And I talk all the time to individuals, and their biggest why is they want time. They want more time. And I would have to agree with that. The older we get, we always want more time.
Yep. Absolutely. And one of the ways that um, I've started making sure that I keep my why top of mind is is what Bob had me do. He had me take out a goal card and write on the back of the goal card what my goal was. And here's an example of one that I kept it in my pocket. This
Gosh, look at yours.
this one
Mine
might
don't
have
look like that. I got three of them, and I have rating on all the back, but yours looks like it's been through a washer and a dryer a couple times.
it did make it through the washing machine. Yes, that is one of the reasons. But it was the first one that I did, and I decided to keep it as a reminder of my goal and a reminder to take it out of my pants when I washed them.
Yeah, awesome. Next topic I have is flexibility and growth, letting the goal evolve.
Well, you always must be flexible. I mean, when we started Huddle for Success, we had one idea of what we wanted to do, and we worked
Oh my
towards that,
goodness,
and we made good progress toward it. And then as we were traveling down that path, we saw, oh, it could be even better if we went this way.
right.
And um, so you always got to stay flexible when you're working on a goal. Uh, Thomas Edison, he tried 10,000 ways to make a light bulb. And, each one of them was a little bit different because you hit a roadblock one direction, you go around it, you detour around it, and you find the next easiest path to get where you're going. So,
I wrote a talking point down here. Uh, goals are a compass, and it's not a cage.
absolutely.
It's a direction. direction that you should follow.
Yes. And that kind of reminds me, Napoleon Hill said a person without a goal is like a ship without a rudder.
How you going to get anywhere?
Yeah, you can't get anywhere without a goal.
Yep, for sure. Let's see, what else do I have?
I don't know. Why don't we challenge everybody to
I
maybe
was going to say, let's reflect on some of the challenges.
yeah. Everybody write down, 3 goals using the SMART format we talked about that was, and maybe it doesn't need to be 3. Maybe just write down 1. The one that's the most important to you, where it's specific, it's measurable, it's ambitious, it's relevant, and it's time bound. And then ask yourself questions. Does this goal reflect my personal values and what I want to do? And do they stretch me and excite me enough? When you get it, if you really, really, the first time I did this was scary, is I actually shared it in a group of like-minded people. I shared what my goal was. That'll put butterflies in your stomach because now everybody's holding me accountable to what that goal was.
Mm-hmm.
Private messages if you want. We'll hold you accountable. You don't have to share it with the world, but
Absolutely.
Send us a little private message. Tell us what your goal is.
So taking one thing from this lesson, reflecting on it, what's one thing that you can take from this lesson of goal setting for you?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
write down your goal and make sure it's something that you truly, truly want. You've got to really, Bob called it a C-type goal, and I remembered it by saying it's something that you actually have to crave. You've got to crave that goal. They're my 2 big points.
Myself is, don't hesitate from writing down your goals, because you'll see great strive and great success once you have. I'm speaking from experience where, as I've talked about before, I never wrote down my goals, never journaled. And since I've done that, I can tell the biggest difference of being able to hit my goals every single time. I would think of my goals and they were beyond, it was beyond a point to where I knew I wouldn't get it, but I just didn't write it down. So I was lost. I had no way of getting to it, even though I believe I would have been able to hit it, but I just didn't write it down. And writing your goals down, I think that's the first step in being able to change and achieve.
Yeah, our goal cards kind of help you do that because they have on the top line already written for you. I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you write your goal out as if it's already happened. Because once you realize that it's already happened, it's so easy to do, and it will happen.
Listen, I believe they can get one of those. They send an email to info@huddleforsuccess.com. Say, hey, I want a card. Send me a card, and we'll be able to send it out to you.
Absolutely. We'd love to do that.
Well, listen, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We're growing as we do each and every single day, all of us. But Huddle for Success, we're constantly growing. We're constantly evolving. Mark and I collaborate hours and hours every single day on what matters not only to us, but to you, the listener, and how we're able to help people. Join us every single Monday for Huddle for Success. We do a huddle up session every Wednesday and Friday. Please do us a favor and subscribe. If you have questions or comments, put them in. We're all over social media. And if you feel that this would be helpful for someone that that needs goal setting, or just really be connected with a group that's able to get you to a different level that you've always dreamed that you wanted to get to, but you never had the support, and that never worked for them or for you, by all means, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. So until next time, Mark, it's always good getting on this session and our others, and just trying to collaborate through and talking to everybody about what our vision is, how we can help people. And we'll see you next time on Huddle for Success.
See you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Huddle for Success. If you found it helpful and want to support others on their journey, share this podcast, leave us a rating, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you next week on Huddle for Success. Stay huddled up.